Hello and welcome back to the Grow Through It podcast. My name is Julia, and in honor of it officially being December, I thought I would talk about my favorite holiday traditions and give some tips on how to stay healthy or lose weight during the holidays. Christmas is my absolute favorite time of the year. I love all the decorations, the lights, the traditions, and spending time with friends and family. For me, it's a time where I can rest and recover and take a little break from my busy schedule. I know for some, Christmas can be difficult or stressful, but hopefully you can take some of these ideas from this episode and maybe start incorporating them. Maybe doing that will help you have a more relaxing and joyful Christmas. I'm going to start by sharing some of the holiday traditions that I love. There are some from my childhood that we no longer do, but that I would love to do with my future family, and some that are new. So growing up, I was always so excited for Christmas and December in general because I have a birthday in December. My family and I would decorate the house together until my siblings got a little older, then it would just be me and my mom decorating. I remember she would blast the Christmas music while we did this. She had a Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers Christmas CD she would put in our little CD/radio player in the kitchen. I feel really old saying that. Listening to that music every year and putting up the same decorations each year was so special for me. It was rare we had new decorations, it was always the same ones, but I loved that. I would get so excited pulling them out of the box because often I'd forget about some of them, and some of them were my favorites. This is definitely a tradition I would love to do with my future family. Another tradition I loved was calendar presents. It was basically like an advent calendar, but my mom would buy little items from the dollar store or Claire's and put them in our stocking each morning of December until Christmas. My sister and I were both in gymnastics, so we'd often get hair ties, scrunchies, bobby pins, or barrettes. My favorite thing to get, though, was those little single-serve boxes of cereal. This was the only time we got junky cereal, as my family called it. We would get Corn Pops, Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, or Rice Krispies. Throughout the year, we never had this kind of cereal, so it was always so exciting, which looking back now is so funny to me. I loved calendar presents, though. It was so fun to wake up each morning and see what was in our stocking. I loved how it wasn't just a basic advent calendar with a chocolate in it, but it was something new each day. My family and I, and later just my mom and I, would always watch certain Christmas movies each year too. We watched Frosty the Snowman 1 and 2, For Better or For Worse Christmas Special, Garfield Christmas, Charlie Brown Christmas, and for some reason, Mrs. Doubtfire, even though it's not a Christmas movie. I loved watching these every year, and now when I see these movies, it brings back so many good memories. When I got a bit older, we also watched the Harry Potter series, or at least a couple of the Harry Potter movies. This is also a tradition I'd like to keep, with some of the same movies and some new ones too. Now I always watch Elf, The Grinch, and Home Alone every year now. Another tradition we always did was go to church. I mentioned in a previous episode that I grew up Catholic. I loved and still love going to church on Christmas Eve. I just love all the songs they sing, the smell of frankincense burning, and being with my mom in church. I know it means a lot to her that I still go with her. Now that we are all older and my siblings have children, we have new traditions we do. We usually have brunch and mimosas and open presents all together. It's so much fun watching the kids open their gifts, and I love spending time with my family. It really brings me so much joy, and my heart feels so full being with them on Christmas. It can be hard living away from all of them, so spending so much time with them is really nice. I also always get together with my best friend, since I don't see her very often either. So we usually go out for coffee or have a night out together, and it's the best. Paul has come home with me the last 2 Christmases, but this year he is unable to, so we are going to spend Christmas together this year, just us two, and then I fly out to see my family on Boxing Day. Growing up, and even now, my mom always made Christmas so special for us, and if you don't have that in your family or never did growing up, you can be the person who makes it special. Do it for yourself or for your family. Start making traditions. Start taking yourself to see Christmas lights. Invite your friends over for Christmas movies. Do a friend's gift exchange if you don't have family where you are. I think you can always find ways to increase the joy around Christmas. Also, I have never done this before, but one day I would really love to go visit a retirement home or something and spend some time with the people there. I know there are probably a lot of people in there who don't get any visitors on Christmas. So maybe this is something you can do if you don't have family to spend Christmas with. Or you could take your family with you. Also, just a side note, as I'm feeling a little nostalgic and emotional, but please make sure your mom and dad feel appreciated for their efforts. I don't think I did that enough for all the effort they put into Christmas, but I know they listen to this, so I hope they can see how thankful I am and how much it has impacted me. I also messaged my mom while planning out this episode. Also, please make sure to fill your parents' stockings. I know this gets missed sometimes, especially moms' stockings. I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok about this, and it's so sad because they put so much effort in, and usually everyone else's stockings are stuffed. So fill their stockings, please. Okay, next let's talk about ways to stay healthy during the holidays. Whether you just want to stay healthy or are on a weight loss journey, I have tips for both. There are usually a lot of events going on for people during the holidays, and they usually involve a lot of food and sometimes alcohol. There is nothing wrong with enjoying yourself once in a while, but if you have goals or you always feel bad after the holidays from getting out of routine, there are a few things you can do to help. First of all, treat yourself when you want. Again, there is nothing wrong with enjoying Christmas dinner or having desserts. Just be mindful with how much you are doing this. If you have multiple events a weekend or even once a week, try not to overdo it. I think for many people, including myself, if I restrict myself too much, it ends up being worse for me because then I overindulge more than I would have if I just let myself have a little treat here and there. So don't restrict yourself too much unless that's what you want to do. It really is all about balance, though. If you eat healthy and exercise majority of the time, you can totally treat yourself at events. It is important, though, to get back into routine right after. Don't keep treating yourself over and over just because you did once. Have what you want at the event, and then the next day, eat your regular diet again and get some exercise in. Staying active is super important around the holidays. Try and keep the same routine you have with workouts, but if you do miss one or a couple, don't beat yourself up over it. It is the holidays, and it's okay to relax and spend some time with your loved ones. But exercising will help you feel better, both physically and mentally. I know there have been Christmases in the past where I ate way too much and I didn't work out, and I just felt so awful after. It's also super important to take your vitamins and supplements and make sure you're getting enough sleep and staying hydrated. I know many people get sick around the holidays, and I think it largely has to do with stress, not eating well, and not exercising. Doing these things will help with all of that. Speaking of stress, this period of the year, people get so burnt out, and I know seasonal depression is very real. If you haven't listened to my last episode on this, make sure to listen because I give so many examples of things you can do to improve your mental health and do more self-care. Around Christmas, it's really important to take time for yourself and take time to rest and recover. I know not everyone gets time off during the holidays, but if you do, use that time to reset. If you don't, try your best to use that time you do have off, like weekends or whatever it is, to do the same. Spend time with your friends and family, but if your family is a cause of stress for you, know that you don't have to be around them, at least not for very long. Limit time with them if you can, and spend time with the people that bring you happiness. Now, if you have the goal of weight loss and don't want to allow as much indulgence or getting off track, I have some tips for this as well. You can still treat yourself if you want to, just be mindful again with how much. Maybe choose which events you'll have treats at, or just have one instead of several. Also, if you happen to indulge one night, don't use that as an excuse to keep indulging until the holidays are over. You can have a couple days over the holidays where you enjoy things you wouldn't normally have, just don't overdo it. get back on track right away. You can also find healthier alternatives to the dishes you normally eat and make that. Potatoes are actually quite low in calories, it just depends on how you cook them. Try and find recipes that you can use instead of the ones you normally use if you want to lower your caloric intake a bit. There are a lot of great alternatives that still taste really good. If that is not an option for you, just make sure to fill your plate with mostly the good stuff. Turkey is very high in protein and very good for you. Fill your plate with the meat and veggies mostly, and you can still have the other stuff just in smaller portions. You could also use a smaller plate. This will help you put less on your plate. When you really think about it, if you're having a full turkey dinner, you'd never normally eat that much. Typically, regular meals have meat, a carb, and vegetables. Turkey dinner has so many other foods involved, and again, you can still enjoy them, just have smaller portions, and using a smaller plate will help with this. It kind of tricks your brain that you're eating a lot, even though it's less than if it were on a big plate. If you do use a big plate, it's much easier to add more food onto that plate. If you're attending a dinner and you're not the one cooking, you don't have much control over what you are being served. But again, take smaller portions and you can also bring a healthy dish with you. Make something healthy you can enjoy that still tastes really good. It's also important to maintain your workouts during the holidays if you are on a weight loss journey. Again, I would say if you miss a workout or two, it's really not the end of the world. It's okay to take time to rest. But if you truly want to change and lose weight, try and work out as much as you normally do. Plan your day out so you know when you have time to work out. Work out in the morning before any major events and you'll feel so good after. You can also go for walks, especially after a big meal. You could even do this with family and start a tradition of going out for a family walk after your meal. This will wake you up and have you feeling much better. I think again, whether your goal is maintenance or weight loss, don't use the holidays as an excuse to get off track for a long period. It's okay to enjoy yourself and have fun, just don't go overboard with it. If you stick with your regular routine of eating healthy and exercising majority of the time, you will feel way better about treating yourself at events. And if you do get off track, don't beat yourself up. It's all about balance, so get back on track and keep going. Don't worry about what you did yesterday, just look ahead. So those are my tips for staying healthy during the holidays. If you have any questions about this or need extra support, feel free to message me on Instagram at growthroughit.pod. I would also love to hear about all your holiday traditions. I had so much fun reminiscing about old traditions and sharing my current ones. It was actually quite healing for me and brought me a lot of joy thinking about it and talking about it. As always, I would be so grateful if you could rate and review this podcast and share it with someone you think would benefit from it. Thank you so much for listening, and remember that you are worthy. See you next time.